Hello and welcome to class. So our topic for today is Introduction to Sewing. What is sewing? Sewing is basically an art of joining piece of material together with needle and thread to produce seam or stitches. That is just the simple definition of sewing. So now let's move on to basic sewing tools. As beginner, someone that is new to fashion, you need to be familiar with your tools, the tools that you need to carry on your sewing project. So what are they? We have lots of them, but I will give you the basic one that you need for this class. This is actually a beginner class, so I don't need to bombard you with a lot of tools that you don't necessarily need for now. So now let's talk about the measuring tape. You can call it tape measure. Some people call it tape rule. It has two sides. We have the inches part and we have the centimeter part. So this part is measured in centimeter, is calibrated in centimeter, while the other side is calibrated in inches. We have some people that measure their clients in centimeter and some they measure in inches. Tape measure is actually a flexible strip. Can you see that it's flexible? So it makes it ideal for fashion designer. What you use it to do is just to measure the curve and straight edges of human body and fabrics. So if the tape is not flexible, it might not be easier for you to use it to measure human body parts. I hope you understand. The next one is a tailor's chalk. This is a tailor's chalk. Can you see? So it comes in different color. So what we use it to do is just to place markings on our fabric, temporal markings, so that it will guide you while you want to cut. I hope you understand. So the tailor's chalk. So the next one is your pressing iron. This is very important if you want to get a more professional finishing. As you're sewing, you have to press along. So this will give your project a more sophisticated and polished look. Do you understand? So you have to press along as you sew. This is actually a steam iron. You can use your dry iron as well. Do you understand? So you need pressing iron. It's very important. Then I also have here thread, the sewing thread. So it comes in different colors and different sizes. So you will buy the color that matches the cloth you're sewing. It is always best to use a matching color of thread whenever you're sewing. You use matching color of thread whenever you are sewing any fabric or any garment, unless for decorative purposes. That is when you can use different color. But when you're sewing as a beginner, learn how to use the matching color of thread to sew your cloth.
And always respect shades of colors when it comes to your thread. Don't say because you're working on a pink garment, you now go and pick any available pink thread. Always go with the pieces of your garment while selecting your thread.
This is another type of thread. It is an elastic thread. So you see, it is stretchy. It comes in color. This is the black. I have the white, and it comes in sizes as well. Can you see? This is the thread. You can see this is an elastic thread. Some people call it smoking thread. This is the normal thread, and this is the elastic thread. So next on my list is machine needle and hand needle. We call them needle, but we have different types of them. We have the machine needle, the hand needle. So this is the machine needle. You attach this to the needle bar of your sewing machine. Why you use this type of needle? When you want to make hand stitches, when you want to produce hand stitches, that is when you will use this. For example, if you need to attach a button to your garment, you will be using this type of needle, not this. And both of them, they come in different sizes. You choose the one that suits or best for your project. We have beading needle as well. If you want to bead on your fabric, you can use the smaller size of this hand needle as well. So this is how your sewing needle looks like. Your machine needle, this is how it looks like. So you attach this to the needle bar of your sewing machine, while the sewing needle looks like this. Can you spot the difference? You can see that they are very, very different. So we have our straight pins. What we use a straight pin for is to hold our fabric in place while sewing. You can call them office pin or straight pin. Next on my list is a seam ripper. No matter how careful you are as a beginner, you will make mistake. You will make mistake and you will need to loosen out your stitches. So you use this to loosen out your stitches. No matter how careful you are as a beginner, Rome was not built in a day. But to avoid damaging your cloth, this comes in handy. You see, this is how it looks like. We have the bigger one as well. I prefer this. So I prefer this small one for me. So you use this to loosen out your stitches anytime you make mistake. Please do not use blade. Do not use blades and don't use scissors. Some village people, they will even losing wrong stitches with their teeth, and you'll be like, where are you from? So you use this. This is a seam ripper. It's specially made for fashion designers. Ruler. It comes in different shapes. This is hip cuff. This is an hip cuff. This is an armhole cuff. This is a multi-purpose cuff. It has the armhole part on it already. Then the straight part, the hip part. As a beginner, if you have this, at least you are good to go with this. You have your straight ruler part. If you want to connect straight lines together, you make use of this. If you want to, curve lines, you make use of the curvy parts. This is the armhole part. You can use it to connect your necklines, your arm size, your hip curve. You'll be needing this. This is a straight ruler, a straight long ruler. As a beginner, you might not get all of this. If you have only this, at least you are good to go. This already has almost all the curvy parts you need to measure. Do you understand? But if you have the capacity, so why not get all? Next one is your scissors. We have different types and sizes of scissors. As beginner, I advise you to get two at least. One for cutting fabric and the other one for cutting paper. This will prevent your scissors from getting blunt easily. Because if you are using your fabric scissors to cut your paper, it will get blunt easily. So this one is actually called a pinking shell. You can call it zigzag scissors as well. So I use this whenever I don't want to aim the edge of my garment. So let me cut something for you. Can you see? So this is what it will give to your garments. Next on my list is your fabric. Your fabric. We have different types of fabric. We have cotton fabric, we have chiffon, we have lycra, we have linen, But as beginner, I advise you to start with cotton fabrics. The likes of Ankara, the calico, do you understand? So they are much more easier to work with. On my list is a sewing machine. We have domestic sewing machine and then industrial sewing machine. So this one is a domestic sewing machine and it's a manual sewing machine in the sense that it can work without electricity. Do you understand? This can work very well without electricity. So if you're in an area where there's no constant electricity, you can go for this. So this is another type of machine. It's also a domestic sewing machine, but it cannot work without electricity. You can call it tabletop machine because you have to place it on a table. You have to mount it on a table. This is an industrial computerized sewing machine. You see this? You can regulate the speed here. So this is another type of sewing machine. This is also an industrial sewing machine. This one has a clutch motor. It can not work without electricity as well. You need light to power it. But as a beginner, you don't need to get the industrial machine. You can start with the domestic ones, either manual or the tabletop one, the electrical one. You can start with that. Then as you proceed in your sewing, you get the industrial. But if you want to get it, if you have the capacity, you can get both. Do you understand? You can get both the industrial and domestic. Thank you. That brings us to the end of this class. See you in the next class.